Hey YouTube, happy Wednesday. I'm Marcus from Heading 2. And this week we're going to talk about setting the foundation for WordPress themes and theming. We're going to talk lots of videos about theming in the future, so we wanted to go ahead and get started with kind of setting the groundwork for what files you need for a theme, what needs to be in a theme, what code needs to be in those files to let WordPress know that it is a theme. We're going to talk about parent versus child themes and when to use either one of them. We're going to look at the WP hierarchy kind of at a high level. We'll go in depth in a future video. And we're going to start by coding our first template page just to give you an idea of how easy it is to get started with theming in WordPress. So without further ado, let's dive in and take a look. Alright, let's get started. So I've gone ahead and I've installed a WordPress site. I'm using desktop server. Usually I use MAMP, but I'm trying something new. So I set up a site called First Theme with desktop server, and it's just a out-of-the-box WordPress site. If I hop to themes, you can see that the only themes that we have here are the default themes that come with WordPress, and 2017 is currently enabled. I'm going to activate 2019 for no real reason, but let's start with the newest one. So I hop back to the front end of the site, and you can see that we just have WordPress's 2019 theme enabled. So we're going to be talking about lots of theming things here on Heading 2. So this tutorial is really just to kind of get us started with basic theming. Let's just go ahead and get started by hopping over to our theme folder here, or our site folder, and I will drag this into my text editor of choice, which is Sublime Text. And what that gives us is a nice tree of our files. I'm going to close this one out and minimize that. So we have a tree of our structure, our scaffolding for this WordPress site, and we're going to go ahead and add a theme. So under WP content in the themes folder, this is where we're going to add our theme files in our theme folder. So let's go ahead and start with the new folder, and I'll just call this one First Theme, and that way we have a folder. And the first file I'm going to add in First Theme is, let's save this in First Theme, and it's going to be style.css. Now every WordPress theme needs to start off with a style.css file. If I look at 2015, which is one of the WordPress default ones, you can see that style.css is down here at the bottom. I'll close that up and we'll look at style.css and what needs to be in here. So for WordPress to know excuse me, that this is a theme, we need to add some comment, a comment area to the top here. So I'll go ahead and open a comment, and then we'll close it and we'll add our information in between here. So this is where we're going to add the information that tells WordPress about the theme itself. So let's start with theme name, and we'll call this First Theme. Let's just go with something like my first theme. And these don't need punctuation syntax at the end, so we'll kill that semicolon. We'll move down to the next one, and we're going to have some author information. I'm just going to go ahead and make this the author of my name. The next thing we'll want to add is an author URI, and this just allows the theme to link back to maybe some supporting documentation for the theme, or just more information about the author. So I will go ahead and add heading2.com in here. The next thing we're going to add is the description, and this can be anything you'd like. So let's just say this is my first theme for WordPress. give it a version number. This is version 1.0. And we're going to leave it at that for now. I will save that. Save. And let's hop back over here into themes. And let's see what we've got. So we still just see the 4 themes that come bundled with WordPress. But down here we've got a broken themes section. And the reason that this theme, my first theme, is still broken is because we're missing an index.php file. And it talks about child themes here, so this is a good time as any to talk about child themes. So when you're creating a new theme for the first time, it's often recommended that you use what's called a child theme, and that's basically basing your theme off of another theme. Maybe in this case you would base your theme off of 2019, and the way that you would do that is you would come in here and you would say template and then the name of the folder that that theme is in. So I think I spelled that right, 2019. If I look inside of themes, we see 15, 19, 17, 16. So if I did 2019 here without the semicolon and I saved that, and I come back over here and refresh, what we'll see is that my first theme is now available here because it's based on 2019. So if I activate this, and let's go ahead and activate it, why not? And I go back to the front end of the site, you'll see that to some degree it's based on 2019, although it's a little bit broken as well. So let's hop back over to themes, and we're actually not going to base it on another theme. We're just going to create our own standalone theme, so we'll save that, and when we come back over and refresh, we'll see that what we're missing is an index.php template file. Now, this is not. Let's create a new file. Let's save that as index.php and close that one up. So we've got a blank index.php file and a style CSS. And if we come over here and refresh, we'll see that my first theme is in fact active. Let's activate 2019 and deactivate this one. But it's no longer broken. So if we wanted to activate this, we could do so. And if we hop back to the front end, what we're going to end up with is a white screen. And the reason we have a white screen isn't because WordPress failed to load. It is because our index.php doesn't have any content in it. So if I wrote a heading, and I said hey there, and save that, and come over here and refresh, you'll see that it says hey there. So our theme is working, WordPress is working, WordPress is doing what it's supposed to be doing. We just don't have anything in our index.php. We'll get to that in just a moment. So what we'll want to do now is we can close the style CSS, and we'll add one more file that every theme needs to have, and that is a functions.php file. So I'll save this as functions.php. And this file could over time have lots of different information in it, but what we're going to start with here is just adding some CSS and JavaScript. You'll want to add those things not in the index file or not in your theme template pages, but in the load it from the functions.php. So we're inside our functions.php, and what we're going to do here is we're going to say let's open PHP, and this is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to what's called enqueuing in WordPress, enqueue a script and a JavaScript file and a CSS file, and I'll show you how those load themselves into the front. So add theme scripts, and then where that gets loaded is into there's a step when WordPress is loading called WP and Q scripts. Won't get too deep into that in this one, but just know that you will need to add an action. This is using WordPress's hook system. We want to hook into the WP and Q scripts step, and what we want to do at that point is run our function. So add theme scripts, and now we actually need to do something in here. So let's load our style.css file, and then we do that by using WordPress's WP and Q style function, and in that we'll pass theme main as just kind of a unique naming handle, and then we will load our file, which is going to be get theme file URI, and that'll give us the path to our theme, and inside of that we just want to grab style.css, and we'll close that off. And let's just start with that. Inside our style.css we're going to have body, background red, and we'll save that. And if we refresh over here, let's view our page source. We just have the heading 1, so we're not actually loading, we're not actually running this WP and Q scripts function because we're not loading the rest of WordPress. We are simply loading our heading 1. So let's PHP get header. And there you go. So this get header loads WordPress's core functionality, and if I view the page source, you can see above our heading 1, which is all the way down here, WordPress has now loaded all of this WordPress stuff just by adding WordPress's get header, and in doing so it also loaded our style.css, which has our background of red. So let me clear that out, and we'll save that, and then we can refresh over here and our background is back to white. So let's close that. Real quick, I won't get into it, but loading a JavaScript file is almost identical. You just do WP and Q script and Q script singular. You do the same thing by adding a handle. I'm going to make these main.js and main.css just to keep them separate. And it's the same thing, get theme file URI. And assuming that you would put your JavaScript in the JavaScript folder, you would need to just do something like that and then make sure that you're pointing at your JavaScript file. So I don't actually have a JavaScript file going here, so if I save this and refresh, it'll work just fine, but it won't load the JavaScript file because there isn't one. So I'll go ahead and clear that out and save, and that's all we're going to put in our functions.php file for now. Let's see, if we go back, we're missing kind of WordPress's black bar up here. That gets loaded in the WordPress footer. So just like get header up here, get footer will load WordPress's footer content, and that actually includes loading our black WordPress bar at the top. So let's head back to themes here. Real quick, I'll show you how to add a screenshot here. All that requires is throwing a screenshot.png file in your theme. So if I go to content, themes, first theme, it just goes right in here. And I will grab one from the desktop that I've loaded in already. You can see it popped up over here. It's just a screenshot from heading 2. So when I come back over here and refresh, you can see that that loads in. Now that's not what it's going to look like. Clearly I'd have to code all of that in, but it's just a screenshot for the theme. And that helps with organization back here. You can see that it can get a little bit cluttered, a little bit convoluted. So that just kind of helps you figure out which theme that you're trying to activate kind of at a quick glance. So we've already started creating our home page here by adding some content to this index.php. I'll just go ahead and change this to this as the home page. And I refresh that. So a few things to note here. To modify your header and footer content, you see how it says first theme is powered by WordPress and first theme just another WordPress site. These things are automatically loaded in. To change those things, we'd need to add a header.php and footer.php and customize those. The best way to do that is to come in and pick a header.php from another theme and then start to strip out or modify the pieces as they relate to your site, your theme. There you go. Congratulations on creating your first WordPress theme. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe for future WordPress development tutorials and other web development goodies. And if you haven't checked out our site, heading2.com, go ahead and check that out, where we're posting some other additional resources and tutorials and how-tos for WordPress and other things web development. And we'll keep that updated as we post these videos as well. So go ahead and check that out. Again, it's heading2.com. Until then, see you next time.